everyone. You're listening to the Purple Chair Podcast, and I'm Laura Labuda, your scissor wizard, color alchemist, lover of all things purple, and you are sitting in my purple queendom. And I am hanging out with Josh Freeman, who is actually right across the hall from me. We kind of share space back here, and he is a licensed mental health counselor, and his business name is Violet Counseling.
We had to keep the purple theme going.
Yeah, we have a whole... Yeah, how did you come up with your name?
Well, I've always liked purple. Purple and black are my favorite colors. And then I've always used the gamer tag purple or Violet Witch. So I was trying to play around with the idea. And then when Claudia had her purple themed name and you have your purple themed name, I was Violet Counseling.
Purple is a...
healing color.
It is a healing color. Also, I don't know if you know this. I'm about to spill a huge secret I don't know that I've ever put out there for anyone ever at all, ever, never. Did you know that do you know what a purple door means?
It's not coming to me.
A purple door means a witch lives here.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, if I make my chair purple, then the people who are like me will find me. I cannot believe I just said that out loud. But yeah. Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. You know, being set up inside a metaphysical shop is definitely the clientele that I was looking for. You know, I wanted people to be able to have like a safe place to come and, you know, work on their mental health. That's not a judgmental space. So
tell me again what it is that you do.
So, like you said, I am a licensed mental health therapist, licensed mental health counselor. I've been working in the field for about 9 years. But basically, my areas of expertise are anything to do with the LGBTQ plus community, spiritual and religious minority groups, and then I love couples therapy. Any relationships type work is fun. Yeah. My shirt's actually a tarot card for the lovers, and that's my life path, so kind of goes hand in hand.
And your sessions are different than...
Yes, so I don't do... like the most standard, like CBT version of therapy. Like I do more of emotionally focused therapy. That's coined by Susan Johnson. And then also I provide any kind of holistic services that they may need. So if if my clients are wanting a tarot reading or spiritual healing or help, that's what I'm always going towards. I also like to keep everything extremely confidential. That's one of the reasons why I don't take insurance, because insurance companies can put their hands in your business.
Okay, so you said counselor and therapist. Are they? I don't know anything about this world. Okay, I'm over here doing therapy. Okay, what is the difference between those two terms? Or do you use them interchangeably? Is that a thing?
Well, some people use them interchangeably. Technically, I am a licensed mental health counselor.
Okay.
That's the technical, what's on the paper. In the most strictest of views, therapists should only be truly tagged to someone who has a PhD or a PsyD in psychology. So
I learned a new thing today.
Yeah.
That's cool. So where are you from?
I'm from Sherrill, South Carolina, a small southern town about 40 minutes north of Florence. I was born and raised there and went to high school and everything there. Was there for 18 years and then moved to Florence where I went to Francis Marion. And I've studied a wide variety of subjects from... I did nursing for an entire year and switched schools, couldn't afford it. Went back to Francis Marion and studied psychology and gender studies and finished my degree there. And then I started at Webster University. I've taken classes at both the Myrtle Beach and the Columbia campus, and that's where I finished my master's degree.
Super cool. That's so cool. I did not know that.
So I got a master's in mental health counseling with a focus in mental health specifically. And that was in 2020, and then started my process for licensure. So
super cool.
And finished that this year.
When did you know that you wanted to do what it is that you're doing right now? Counseling. Do I call it counseling?
Yes.
Okay.
Counseling.
All right. I just want to make sure I'm using the right word.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle of nursing school, I kind of woke up one day after being in one of the psychology-based nursing classes and went, really like this. It's like medicine, but it's different. But it's something I think that I can click with, you know. And I've always viewed psychology and, to an extent, sociology as the glue that holds everything else together. You know, it's how we think, it's how we process, how we communicate. So even behind business or, you know, salon work or hair wizarding.
Scissor wizard.
Yeah, there you go. You still have a lot of like psychology behind that. It's the glue that holds everything together. So the way the clients communicate with each other, that's kind of stuff. And so at the time I was also working in food and beverage. I've bartended, managed, served restaurants for 13 years, all the way through undergrad and graduate school. And having that interpersonal communication really just kind of sparked that interest in, why do we communicate this way? Why does this person say things this way, you know? And so that's what kind of led me into more of like the counseling role. And when I left the school that I was at for nursing, I couldn't afford to stay there, and went back to Francis Marion. They were like, look, you have to start over from scratch, or, you know, you can try to finish out a degree in something else. And so I just said, no, I'm going to go ahead and finish. Did psychology and gender studies. And I really enjoyed it because my educational route was very much like a quilt that had been sewn together with several patches from several different walks of life. And so a lot of what I do in therapy right now is HRT specialty. So anyone who's in an active transition, I do the therapy side of it, where we're sitting down talking about their dose, how it's affecting them, their side effects, all the things. And so I wouldn't be able to do my job as effectively as I do now if I'd not had that year of nursing experience, and not had a mentor in my undergrad who everything in her entire PhD process was based off of testosterone and estrogen, how it affects the economy, how it affects this the social structures, how it affects biology and biochemistry, all of the things. So
that is so fascinating.
Yeah.
That is really fascinating. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was a lot.
It's not. I mean, it's not. It's really great. It's bleh. Sorry. That was so fascinating. When you said you're woven together, like the patchwork, like that's how that got you here to where you are. I would say that is very similar to my journey too, because it's a little bit of, you do a little here and you do a little there and you weave it all together and here we are.
Especially like with your background in teaching and stuff, and then doing this, like that's like right into it.
So does the gender studies stuff, does that like kind of lead into
Yeah,
where
it more than anything, what studying gender studies as much as I did for me is open my eyes to the world and the possibilities that are out there that I was not taught as a child. You know, in Chirral, unfortunately, you know, you were one way or you were wrong. That's just how I was raised. And so getting, you know, older, going to Francis Marion, experiencing the real world and seeing that not everybody looks the same way, acts the same way, talks the same way, believes the same things, helped me to really broaden my ability to communicate with others, to embrace others, to accept people, you know, because fitting in is something that we're taught in school, and fitting in's not good. Fitting in is when we shave off our edges so that we can belong in a group, but it's a facsimile, it's not real, you know? Whereas when we actually belong, we are accepted even with our edges, you know, into that organism, into that society. So I think that's what helped me the most with that. And of course the knowledge base, because all of it's how our brains work.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really cool. I think a lot about that when it comes to who teaches you how to style your hair. So I have a handful of customers who don't fit social norms, and nobody is teaching anyone how to do their hair. I mean, even when it comes to shampoo, like who taught you how to shampoo your hair? Like really?
You did.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So, you know, that's a really huge blessing for me to give to somebody, is that in a transition, I've never actually talked about this out loud because, people just kind of chat and the word kind of gets around. But I think that's what I love about my space is that I can have a private space and also like truly teach somebody who's willing to listen about how to curl your hair. That is not, if it's not like you didn't grow up doing that.
And it's nice too because the way that our offices are, you can have a lot of privacy in your salon. You don't have 16 other people in here trying to cut hair with you, so that privacy's there. Same with counseling. Try to have a safe environment so that people can express themselves, and work through their traumas and their processing.
Yeah, we have like our own little self-care corner back here. Yeah, like barber, counselor, hairdresser. Yeah. So, okay, how did you wind up coming to the room across from me?
Okay.
How did that happen? Yes, I got to know.
Okay. So it all started about, I guess technically like 2.5 years ago. So the way the licensure process, roll back. To become a licensed counselor in this state, it's a very long process. It took me 13 years.
Holy cow.
So we've already talked about my educational background. I spent 7 years doing that. And then so after you finish the state boards, get the full degree, do the state boards, you have to sit underneath another licensed professional, just like a medical doctor does, for 2 years. And they, you either pay for supervision or they supplement your income and take money out of it, garnish it, to pay for their supervision. And so that's required. And once that process is over with, if the therapy practice that you're in while you're doing all this is not group-based, it's an individual practice that has supervisees underneath them, you get to find somewhere else to go. So I had a choice. I could go to an agency and do all the insurance things that I don't like and have to take any and all clients, period, and not be as authentic to the way that I like to do therapy. Or I could start my own practice and start that rigorous journey, So I was looking around for spaces. I actually came up here and saw Jen and got a tarot reading because I was worried about the space that I was looking at not being adequate. Excuse me. And then in the middle of the reading, you know how Jen is. She's like, friend, you could always just rent a space here. And the thing that kills me about this is like other people that would have been like 1 + 1 = 2 kind of thing. But for me, it had been such a pocket pipe dream to have a therapy practice inside of a metaphysical shop and do all the things. It had been such a outlandish, just not something that I thought would
it's not something you see every day.
No. I'm almost positive I'm the only one in Columbia. And when she put the offer on the table, I was like, that's it. That's the answer. Because it allowed me to reach for the goal that had always been there. I have been practicing alternative spiritual beliefs, tarot readings, Wiccan practices since I was 14 without even realizing half the time.
I was going to ask you where you found your woo.
Yeah. So,
is that what you call it? What do you call it? I call it my witchy woo.
Yeah, my witchy woo. Yeah, that's... ever since I heard Pam come around the corner and say
Crystal Weenie Woo Woo.
Crystal Weenie Woo Woo, that's what I call it. Like even with my clients, I'll be like, I know this is some of that Crystal Weenie Woo Woo, but this is what I think about this, But yeah, so that's what ended me here is just Jen was gracious enough and the universe blessed me with the opportunity to open a practice here.
I know I was super excited to have you here and when we were trying to find the right fit and space for you.
I'm just glad that it worked out. Yes.
That's my favorite story.
The closet would not have worked for therapy.
No.
Especially if there's no air return in there.
No, so what we're talking about is that there's a lot of rooms here, and one of them is like, it's a closet, but it's like bigger than a closet. And I came running, they're both in there looking at it, you and Jen, and I am so worried, right? I come running down the hallway because I'm like supposed to not know what's happening, but also like I had a feeling that you were coming here. And I came running down the hallway and I'm like, there's no air in there. And I'm like, oh God, I wasn't supposed to say anything. Okay. And then when you left, I was like, Jen, he needs the room across from me, because we couldn't put the Reiki practitioner over there. Because let's face it, I'm not actually a loud person, but my husband is very loud, and we don't want to have anybody over here doing Reiki while so at least everyone in this corner is a very chatty person.
Yes, and y'all never bother me. I turned a little storm cloud music on. We're good.
I love it. Okay, so so we're in a metaphysical shop, right? And when you come in, there's crystals and incense, and it's a whole vibe and a whole thing, and it feels like home here when I walk in the door. And oh man, I just, like, if I go on vacation, I come back and I'm like, yes, right? How do you incorporate all of that into what you do? Like, what is your...
Yeah, so in my office, I have a giant tapestry on the wall of the full, like, zodiac in the houses. And I am very big on, in my eyes, okay, roll it back. As a mental health counselor, I spent years studying the DSM and learning diagnostic tools and all the different stereotypes, because that's what the book is. It's a book full of stereotypes, shortcuts for our brains to recognize behaviors and patterns and behaviors. That's all stereotype is. And so the zodiac really are just another form of personality measures, is what we call them, like the NPI or the Myers-Briggs or something, And so because I've already have this like system of classifications that are in my head, learning more and more about the zodiac and what I believe in spiritually has just added to that. And so a lot of times in therapy, when I'm talking to the client and there's something coming up, I'll be like, well, that's really because of your Taurus sun. Like, you dug your heels in and didn't want to make a change. That's where it comes from.
I know you're really good at remembering all of my things.
I am.
I'm a Pisces.
Yes.
That's all I know. And apparently, Virgo moon.
Your moon is not Virgo.
Okay, what is it?
Your rising is Virgo.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, we were talking about Virgo last time. Yeah, okay.
Your moon Sagittarius.
Yeah?
Your moon Sagittarius, like mine is. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see that coming at you? Like, my personality and, like, the way I come across?
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely comes across.
Okay.
Like, you have the structure and the organizational talents of a Virgo that balance your creative process of the Pisces.
They fight.
They war. Yeah. Well, they're opposites. So
cool.
But yeah, so that's one of the things I do with my clients. It's very different than a lot of other mental health counselors. I mean, how do I say this? In my world, the way that I practice combining some of the spiritual beliefs is considered faux pas, taboo. Because
there's taboo.
I know. Because there's just not scientific, research behind it. But anyone who practices the way I do would be able to see it in motion.
Well, it's like the stereotypes that you were talking about. It's just another
version.
Yeah, it seems like another list of things.
It is. I mean, it's just like, it's no different than the same way that, I would diagnose someone with adjustment disorder. Adjustment order just requires a overreaction or underreaction to a stimulus. Okay, that's just a thing you check off of a list and go, okay, they have that. The same thing happens with, for me, for instance, being Aquarius, our life goals are ego versus community. And so we try to find the strongest group of friends that we can that serve as our little tribe. Or we fail that and let our and let our ego overwhelm everything else and become dictators. Just, that's why the Aquarian can be the rebellious leader of change, or the psychotic dictator. And just, it's very back and forth. It's all about community. It's all about being able to find the place of belonging, the pack tribe mentality. So, and we're visionaries, and we are conspiracy theories and rebels. Anything that looks like a cage or a collar to an Aquarius, they're going to run the opposite direction. That's why we're the rebel sign of the zodiac.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
I use that in tarot readings if my clients want them, sometimes in combination with the therapy, and then for my clients who actually ask for spiritual guidance, I'll suggest some of the basic rituals and things that we do in Wicca and witchcraft. So, whatever they're accustomed to. I've had clients of all different kinds of spiritual practices, everywhere from, I've had clients that are from Laos, a small country in near India. I've had clients that are from all different parts of the states, across seas. So I have to adjust and adapt to them and then adjust the practice around that.
Do you do sessions in person or virtual?
Both.
Both. Cool.
Yeah. I prefer in person just because it's easier to get a connection with the client, but I can do virtual. That's fine.
Okay, so you were talking about how you have customers from all over. And, well, first of all, how can somebody book a session with you if they wish to book a session with you?
Okay, so there's several ways to contact me. Probably the easiest one so they can get like a read about me and see if it's a good match. Because counseling is all about finding a match.
It's like hairdressing.
Exactly. You've got to be able to find someone who practices the way you want them to. Counselors are a dime a dozen. We all get the same generalized knowledge, but we practice individualized, and we individualize even further for the clients themselves. But that still has to deal with the interactions between the client and the counselor. You could just not vibe with someone, and it takes so many more sessions than if you actually did vibe with them. So finding the right match is perfect for you. So I have a page on Psychology Today under Josh Freeman or Violet Counseling, either one. And then, from there, they can email me through Psychology Today, or they can email me at counselingjosh@gmail.com. So
Nice. Yeah. I'm so grateful that we've gotten to spend time hanging out across the hall. Because we pass each other like ships in the night, right? You come, yeah. Anyway.
And hopefully, I would really like to see my business grow so that this can, one, be my only source of employment, but two, because I'd like to be here more.
Do what we need to
Yeah.
make our goals and dreams happen.
Right. And I am working on growing my practice.
In the baby stages of your business. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to see both you and Claudia kind of like bloom because, I'm 13 years into doing hair this year and 6 or 7 with a purple chair. It's been so long I've lost count. Right? It stops aging after a certain time. But I'm so grateful you're here. And you mentioned about, do you say tarot or tarot? What's your preference?
I say both, but I typically, if I'm talking, I'll say tarot.
Okay. And how long have you been practicing that?
I got my first tarot deck when I was 14.
Super cool.
Yeah. And I've learned several different methods of reading, which is...
Do you use a traditional deck?
No, I do not use a traditional deck. Matter of fact, mine is, like me, and my therapy practice is very different than the traditional.
Okay.
So.
I like to use a variety of like oracle decks. I don't gravitate towards a traditional deck, but I really love a Lenormand style deck.
I like the Lenormand.
I want to learn
too.
to read with a regular set of playing cards.
I can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to chat.
I've done that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. So I thought it'd be really cool for you to. Do you want to just pull a card and see what it says about our conversation today?
So one of the things about tarot that I love that is so different than my deck compared to the traditional deck is so each suit in a tarot deck has a element that represents it and a tool. And so like swords is typically air. And then wands is typically air or fire. Oh God, I said it backwards.
Wands are fire, right? Wands are fire. Swords are air.
Yep.
Cups
the
are
cups
water.
are water, and the pentacles are earth. And I get it always confused when I'm trying to tell people, because in my deck, the swords and the wands are backwards, and it makes more sense for my brain because wands are an air tool in witchcraft.
Your words, we love that.
Right.
You got Mr. Ashley saying that tracks.
I walked in the shop, and the other Laura and Sherry the other day were talking about my catchphrases, and it's apparently we love
They're
that.
Spreading.
That tracks.
I love it.
I'm an Aquarius. Okay, now what was the reading going to be about?
Just
Pull a card.
Just pull a card.
Just pull a card.
Give it to us.
Ooh, the Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, so what that says in general is just that a tragedy that has came to pass is being reversed or altered in a more positive light. So 9 is the number of completion. Swords in this deck is fire, not air. And so it's about passion and inner bonds, community, connection. In this deck, the swords is primarily pictured as a wolf pack personified by swords or by wolves in general. And so this one is all about losing one's pact, but because it's in reverse, it's about gaining a pact. So
if you could sum that up into a sentence, what would it be?
Gaining one's tribe. Positive communication.
I love it.
Like-mindedness.
I love it.
Welcome to Belladonna's.
Yeah. And here we are.
Right.
Ta-da! Da-da-da-da! Cool. So I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today on this Purple Chair podcast. And remind us again how we can find you, your email. Say your email address again so we can find you.
It's counselingjosh@gmail.com.
Cool.
And my Psychology Today profile is either under Violet Counseling or Josh Freeman.
And we are hanging out in the back of Belladonna's on 378 in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you guys for listening and have an awesome day. Give me a high five. Woo!